Under internal and external division of a line segment, all that matters is you should know exactly who is internally division. All that matters is that you should know this guy. Once you know this guy, you are free to go. What this thing means is that you should know, they say a P divides a certain line. Maybe someone divides a certain line internally. So this is the line that we are having. So there's a one guy here that divides this line into certain part, right? We don't know, maybe from here to here or from that place to that place, right? We don't know that guy. They say you should find the point where exactly this guy was before he managed to divide the line into two parts. So let's look at this question and see how to solve that. We have this guy here from the question. This guy, let's suppose this guy's P, that is going to divide this line segment into two parts, right? So the point of P, but one thing you have to pay attention to is that the people in this community don't work by just one leg, they work by what, two legs. What I mean by that is that we are giving one guy to be what, x is, which is 1 negative 2. It means that this guy here by name x doesn't work alone, like just working by one leg, but it works with both legs. So this is the first leg and this is the second leg. So the first leg of this guy is small x and the second leg of that guy is small y, right? So that is why we are having this guy here to be what, x comma y, that is 1 negative 2. Okay, the next guy is what, y to be what, 5 comma 3, right? So these are the two people that we are having. So one person is here, the x is here, and then suppose y is also here. Is that okay? And then here comes another gentleman here that's going to divide these two things into what, two parts. And they say you should find the point of that guy or the value of that guy that divides this line into two parts. Look at where these people are. Looks like they look like the first leg and the second leg. So we need to find that of this guy, right? So let's look at how to solve this question here. We are giving the first person to be what, 1 minus 2, and then the second person to be what, y, that is what, 5 comma what, 3, and then the ratio in which they are dividing. This ratio means that how the P managed to divide the line into two equal parts, or not necessarily equal parts, but one side is smaller than what, the other, right? So that is the ratio that we are having here. So one part, assuming one part is 3 and then the second part is what, 2, right? So that is what we are having. They say you should find P. Well, automatically you should know that this is how the guys look like. So if you manage to divide them, you should also look like one of them. Alright, so that is how we got let P here, P which divide the x and the y into two parts to be x comma y. So you should understand this. Is that okay? So the key here is that you should know exactly who internally division is. What I mean by the word who here is that you should know the definition of that. Once you know this guy by image, right? Once you know this guy by image, you'll be okay to solve the problem. So when they say that a certain line divide or a point divide a line into internally or internal division, what it means is that, look at something. We have that these guys are working the x and y, right? They work by two legs, so by assumption, so this is the first leg and this is the second leg. So you need to find that. So when they say internally, here you have your x to be what, something of this nature. Don't let this thing worry you, right? So this, all that matters is that you should know exactly where these people are coming from. So for the first leg, so this one will be for the first leg, right? This x here is what, your first leg here. Is that okay? So you have your first leg here, and then how do you get the first leg of for internally division? That is what, mx2 s2 plus, I will explain this in just a few seconds. So mx2 plus what, ns1 divided by m plus n. So this m and the n here are the ratio being given to you. These letters can change. Is that okay? All that matters is that you should understand how the ratio being given to you in the question, right? So the m and n are what, the ratio being given to you. So the m multiplied by the first s2 here. Look at all, we are dividing the x and the y, right? We are dividing the x and the y. So the x and the y here, these are the x and the y, but they work by what, two legs. So this is the first leg, second leg, and then this is the what, the second leg, and what, the second leg of what, the first person, which is the x here, and then the second leg of that was second person, which is the y here, right? So the x and y, so this is the x1 and then y1 and then x2 and then y2. Is that okay? So we are having two different people here. So this is the first person or this is the second person. Remember that they work by what the first leg and what the second leg. Okay, so our s2, you can name it like this, right? So this will be a x2 and a y2 and the s1 and the what and the y1. So you just need to replace them. So finding the first leg here, you have the ratio here, the first ratio here, which is 2. Is that okay? Didn't give you in the question. So which is 2 here, multiplied by the x2. S2 is 5 here, plus what 3 here, 3, which is the n here, this n here, multiplied by what 1, right? 1 is what the x1 from the question. So this is the x1 here. Okay, and then divided by what n plus n. N plus n is just the ratio, so n plus n. So this is what they are sharing, right? They are sharing. So let's say the first part here is to this guy, the whole of this place is 3, right? So all that they are sharing is 5. So you can divide that by what? By 5 here. So when you do this calculation, you should arrive at 10 plus 3, that is equal to over 5. Then when you do that, you should get something like 2.6, right? So remember that I said earlier on that these people work by what 2 legs. So that is the first leg. So how do you get the second leg here? So the second leg of those people here is y, right? So remember I said that these people they work in what s comma y, right? So you manage to find this, so we are left with what this guy here. So the same approach, is that okay? The same approach, you just need to change the x here, right? You just need to change the x here. So we are looking for the second leg. After using the same method here, you should have what 2 into bracket, that's the y2 from the question is 3 here, plus what n which is what the second ratio, that is 3 into bracket multiply by, remember how I put this thing into bracket because it's a negative to avoid any confusion. So you're having what -2 here. Okay, when you do a calculation, that should multiply that plus what that should give me what 6 plus what negative 6 here. So this and this will give me 0. So 0 divided by 5 is still what 0. Is that okay? So what are we getting now that we got the first leg, which is 2.6, and then the second leg to be what 0? We are having the point of the p that divides that line into a certain ratio to be 2.6 comma 0. Right? So this is how simple you have to solve the internally division question here. Now let's look at the externally division. If you are okay with the internally division, maybe you should be considering subscribing to our YouTube channel for more content like this. So for the external division, is this the only thing that changes in the external division is the sign, right? Look at what I have here. Only the sign that changes, right? So what I mean by the sign in between here. In the internally division, you have that to be what positive. Is that okay? So the external, meaning that you are going outside by assumption, right? So you are going outside the line. So you are going to divide the line outside. I don't know how necessary that will be. So that should be what a negative sign, right? So the same method that you have to use in solving the internal division, the same approach that you have to use in solving the external division. But all that matters here is that the sign here tends to be negative. So I will say negative here. Okay, so this is how simple you solve the internally and external division in coordinate geometry in some of the syllabus. So thank you for watching this.